In this series of videos, we will be helping you to understand how to operate the AV equipment that you will come across during your teaching in one of the many lecture theatres across campus. And we hope that this guide will help you to feel more confident when setting up each type of space for your specific teaching and learning activities. Today, we are in the Lectern Medical School. In this space, the audio-video control panel is contained in a separate touchscreen device on the lectern. The room setup that I will demonstrate today can be found in many rooms across campus. However, there are some specific pieces of equipment unique to the Lectern Medical School. When you enter the room, you should find that the PC has been logged out by the previous user and the AV equipment shut down from the touchscreen control panel. If you find that the system is still powered on when you enter the room, you will see that the touchscreen control panel is lit up and the confidence monitor is turned on. Please remember that we highly recommend you shut down the system at the end of your teaching session using the power button in the top left-hand corner of the touchscreen. The first thing you will need to do in this space is ensure the computer monitor is turned on, the confidence monitor is switched on, and the touchscreen control panel is working. In this space, the lights are not controlled by the touchscreen control panel. Instead, we have a set of buttons at the front of the room, directly behind the lectern. There is another set of controls for the lights at the back of the room. Pressing each of the buttons in turn gives a different setup. From left to right, they are button 1, full room lights, button 2, just the lectern and no audience lighting, button 3, nothing lit on the lectern but low level lighting in the audience, and button 4, low level for the whole room. If you press button 1 twice, it will turn off the whole room lights. This should be done at the end of the session. So, now let's explore the touchscreen control panel and the tools available for you. The PC option will display the standard university desktop computer on the projected screen. This should be selected when you want to log into the computer and, for example, show a PowerPoint or other teaching content that you are accessing through your Windows desktop. We will look at logging into the PC later in this video. Pressing the laptop button will allow you to connect an external device. Currently, this must be done using either the HDMI or VGA cable connected to the touchscreen control panel. However, in the future, the Spider dongle will be introduced to this space. You can now see the dongle being demonstrated in another teaching space by a colleague of mine. The dongle contains a range of connectors depending on the device you want to use. You can connect a device using the standard DisplayPort, mini DisplayPort, HDMI and USB-C connectors. It's important to remember that regardless of which connector you use, you will still need to select Laptop on the touchscreen control panel to select it. When I activate the visualizer, you will see the light turn on and any content will automatically be displayed on the projection screen. You can use the visualizer to show a range of objects to your students, including physical items or writing and annotating on printed documents. You can control the visualizer setup, for example by zooming in and out, adjusting the focus or turning off the light if it is not required through the touchscreen control panel. You should not use the buttons on the visualizer itself. In this space, the visualizer comes with an additional feature, the ability to use a mini whiteboard attached to the lectern and have your script and annotations displayed on the projected screen. You can use this whiteboard with any whiteboard suitable pen, but please remember to clean the board after you have used it. This room is equipped with a Blu-ray player. You will usually find it located below the PC monitor in the computer stack. This can be used to play Blu-ray discs, ordinary DVDs as well as CDs. When the option is selected, the output will change and the Blu-ray player will be displayed on the projector. This can be controlled from a touchscreen control panel. There is no need for a remote or to use the buttons on the Blu-ray device itself. You will see on the screen the usual options for ejecting and closing the disc tray and controls to, for example, play, pause and stop your Blu-ray. The Room Link button lets you choose another room within the Lectern Medical School with which your audio and screen can be shared. This allows you to teach groups of students across 2 spaces at one time. For this to work, however, you should set up your teaching session as usual. Then you press the Room Link button and choose which of the many rooms to link to. To the top right of the touchscreen control panel is a button called Overflow Disabled. Pressing this button will start the share and turn the overflow on. Someone in the other space will need to accept this share by also selecting the room where you are teaching in. This is to avoid your sharing the session to a room which is already in use. After a few moments, your screen and audio will be shared to the other teaching space. It may be useful to have a colleague in this other space to check that your shared display is working and that they can hear you. When the share first begins, the audio in the second space may be quiet. To resolve this, turn the volume in that space up to full, and then turn this down again once the share has finished. You may also wish to mute the mic in your second space to avoid any feedback. This process can be repeated in the opposite way, to share from another space to your main teaching room, such as when students in the second space have questions. In this way, you have a direct voice control between the two rooms if you switch the settings in each space. When you have completed your share, press Overflow Disabled to turn the function off. Turning off the whole touchscreen control panel will reset the settings for the next user, so you should do this at the end of your teaching session. The image mute button will allow you to temporarily hide what is being projected on the screen, for example, whilst you log into the university desktop or switch between applications. Simply press the button once to blank the screen, and again to return to your desktop or other input. On the right side of the control panel, you will find volume controls for the computer's audio output. You will use this, for example, when you share your PowerPoint and it may contain a video, in order to ensure the output level is right for your students in the room. There is also a mute button which you can toggle on and off as required. The Lectern microphone is the default for this room and it should always be active. The Lectern microphone is located in front of the touchscreen display control, and it will pick up the sound across the front of the lectern. The microphone button on the control panel will allow you to adjust the sensitivity of the additional handheld or lapel microphones, which can be found in a docking station on the lectern. We will look at using these microphones a little later on in this video. The camera control button, as with the lights, provides you with 4 helpful presets to choose from, and the camera will move into position shortly after you select your desired setup. There are also more manual controls for adjusting the camera's position. You can pan and zoom as required, and this is the camera that will be captured in your Panopto recording if you include a camera capture as part of your session settings. In addition to the camera, there is a confidence monitor in this space. The small screen allows you to preview what the camera position will be and to monitor your delivery as you teach. As previously mentioned, this space contains some specialist equipment from the Lincoln Medical School. The Digital Imaging and Communications in Medicine button changes the colours that are displayed on the screen so that you can project medical grade images. You can turn this button on and off as required. The power button allows you to turn the system off, ready for the next person who is using the lecture theatre. Please ensure that you do this before leaving the room. As previously mentioned, the Lectern microphone should already be turned on, but you can use the controls located on the left-hand side of the touch screen, as with the additional microphones, to adjust the volume output and mute it temporarily if required. We have now covered all the available settings for this type of lecture room and the control panel. Now we're going to cover logging into the PC, and then we will further explore the microphones available in this space. To log onto the PC in this space, ensure that you have selected PC from the touchscreen control panel. You can then use the keyboard and the mouse provided on the lectern to log into the PC by pressing Ctrl-Alt-Delete to begin. This PC functions as per any other PC on campus. The lectern microphone will be active by default. This is the main microphone for this room, and you should remain behind the lectern at all times when using this microphone. If you would like to move around the room and away from the front lectern, consider using the lapel or handheld microphones. In the charging dock, you will see these additional microphones. To turn on a handheld microphone, remove it from the docking station, push up and hold the white power button underneath until you see a green light. You will then need to press the pair button. When it displays a green light, this is confirmation that the microphone has paired successfully. You can now walk around the lecture theatre using the handheld microphone. Afterwards, ensure that you turn off the microphone by pushing and holding the power button, and then return it to its charging dock to make sure that it is charged for the next user. Similarly, for the lapel microphones, remove one from the docking station, press and hold the red power button until the screen lights up, then press the pair button. You will see that confirmation is shown on the screen if it has linked successfully. In some theatres, you will find the lectern desk height can be adjusted. If this is the case, you will be able to locate the controls on the underside of the desk. You can lower or raise the lectern as required, though please return it to a suitable height after the session. At the end of the session, please ensure all microphones have been returned to the docking station and that you have powered off the AV system by pressing the power button on the touchscreen control and selecting the green tick to confirm. You should also turn off the lights in this space by pressing the first button on the left twice. That concludes our video for this room on the ground floor of the Lincoln Medical School. We hope that you have found this guide useful. Please remember that if you have a technical problem immediately before you start teaching, you should call the ICT service desk directly using the phone provided in the lecture theatre. Alternatively, to report a problem ahead of time, you should email ICT service desk at ict@lincoln.ac.uk, stating the room location and the nature of your problem. For further information, as well as teaching and learning resources, please visit the address displayed on your screen. Thank you.